Okay, so the first thing when starting the 9:30 service, you want to come up here to soft 2, push 9:30, and now I'll get you all the preset stuff. You want to mute keyboard, this one, because yeah, you want to mute that because that's the one Brenda uses. Gary keyboard is unmuted. Gary vocal is unmuted. Madison's unmuted. Kick and cymbal are unmuted. If Paul's here, you want to unmute Paul vocal, guitar Paul. If Robert's here, you want to unmute bass. Okay. Now you'll see that video out is a little low. It's not up to 0. That's how I start off because Gary is he's playing some background on the keyboard while the countdown is going on. When the person doing the welcome gets up to do that, anytime somebody's speaking, I turn the video out up to 0. So do that. I mean, I would say unmute whatever mic they're using first, whether it's Red Wireless or if it's Tim using his headset, either of those. Unmute them first, then go ahead and bring the video master up to 0. When they're done, Gary is going to do a little talking at the beginning, so we'll leave it at 0. But once the band, once they start the song, then I'd bring it back down to, like probably -7.5. Yeah, so just, and there'll be times in between songs when Gary will be talking and you'll want to, slide it back up. So really during the 9:30 service, I leave that video out on most of the time because the in-house stuff seems to be pretty well balanced as is. The other thing you're going to want to do, you'll see here on the video out, Gary and Madison aren't really that much different. And it depends on who's singing background and who's not, and just all that sort of thing. But basically, if that right there is actually a pretty good setting. If Gary's singing, Madison's doing background. You'll notice, okay, I'm going to turn video out off. You'll notice in-house, get Madison up considerably higher than Gary. Yeah, this is Gary down here. That's Madison up there. That seems to work pretty well. Again, video out. The best way to do that when they're singing is go to these headphones over here that are connected to the computer. That tells you what's coming out of YouTube. The problem is there's a little bit of a delay, so you're not going to get an immediate response, but you can just sort of make some adjustments. Again, mainly between Gary and Madison's vocals on that. Whether depending on who's singing background and who's lead and that type of thing. Once the band finishes, then we're going to leave Gary keyboard on, but we'll want to make sure that Bob bass, Madison, Paul vocal, Paul guitar, kick, and cymbal are muted. We're going to leave Gary keyboard and Gary vocal on because he's going to come up during the prayer and do some keyboard playing there in the background. For the message, so the big deal for the message is, as always, unmute PK, but also come over here. We always have the floor, we start off with the floor monitors muted, and the choir monitor's muted, and we want to unmute both of those. That's so PK can hear himself up in the chancel area. And when he's done with the message and his prayers, then we're going to come back. We're going to mute PK. We're going to go to the floor monitor. We're going to mute that. Go to the choir monitor. We're going to mute that. Okay, and yeah, and then we're pretty much back to and then yeah, then we also want to unmute Bob bass if Robert's here, unmute Madison, unmute Paul guitar, unmute kick, unmute cymbal, and yeah, I should have a script kind of thing for you like this for the service. There's the front, there's the back, and that's pretty much it. Obviously, if you have any questions, give me a call, 330